Blended Podcasts. Brought to you by Blended Audio.
Hello and welcome to Centre Stage, the South African Film and Theatre Podcast. I am your host, Alistair King-Daniels, and with me as always
is Peter Bates, and we are joined by a very special guest,
Tash Futeran.
Welcome, Tash. So, let's get straight into it.
Ah, yes.
Who are you?
The dreaded question. Okay, so I'm going to take the easy way out and go for defining myself by my roles, my current roles in life. How about that?
Let's do that.
So I am mother, wife, daughter, sister, friend, actor, and now emerging writer.
Emerging writer.
Yeah.
We'll get to that in a second. But let's focus on acting first, okay? Because I feel like that was your first love.
Yeah, good one.
Like most of us as creators, we want to be actors and we want to be on stage and stuff.
Yeah.
So what sort of actor are you? Are you one of those like hardcore like method actors?
No. I like to take a little bit from everything that feels right for me. So no, I don't have one way of doing things. I did study at the Waterfront Theatre School part-time. I was very lucky to do that when I was in school. Actually, as a teenager, I went there part-time. And they did the Stanislavski
the Stanislavski,
Yeah,
okay.
But then they also did other things. And so I took what worked for me. And I'm still doing that. I'm learning from other actors and directors and so forth. So yeah, I'm just open to learning all the time. I don't just like to think of that's the one way of doing it and that's it.
I like that answer because as an actor, there's always room for improvement. Like performance is never perfect. So it's always nice to learn more new techniques, new exercises to get because Stanislavski, he's the one with all those like magic if and like emotional recall and stuff like that. But then you get other more physical ways to get into character.
Absolutely.
Like Grotowski with like getting into finding an animal for your character, which I find helps.
Yeah, which I actually did a course. I was very privileged. I did an actor training course in Plettenberg Bay with an amazing company called Lunchbox Theatre Company. They're an NGO and they put on amazing shows for kids, for families, and about the environment and social issues and so forth. But I trained with them. I think it was for 6 months. It was a training course. And we did exactly that. We did basically physical theatre training. And I took a lot from that.
And that's always fun.
It was so much fun.
It takes a lot out of you though.
Yeah.
But it's like...
It was rewarding though. Yeah. So I take that on board definitely.
So I wanted to ask you, I didn't know what your answer would be for method acting. What sort of actor are you? But I wanted to know your opinion on those sort of actors, and we can think of Hollywood actors.
Yeah.
Who
go all out.
All out, like super in-depth, like your Heath Ledgers, your Jared Leto's, Marlon Brando, the ones who like, they do everything in their power to become the character, and in a sense they do.
Yeah.
In quotation marks.
So my opinion on that?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, to a degree, I admire that. I think that's amazing if you can do that and if it works for you. And if it works for the movie, the film, the theatre production, then great. And obviously it has worked for those actors in the past. So I definitely don't judge them on that. I think it's admirable and that's great that they found that and it worked for them. Personally, I don't find it realistic for myself. No, it doesn't work for me because I feel like I have to leave it behind sometimes. Like when I go home,
You can't be.
I cannot be.
Lawyer.
No, well, depends on the situation. But maybe I can blame my daughter for that, because I can't come home as, for instance, when I did Othello, I wouldn't want to bring Rodrigo home. I don't think that would have worked in a very maternal way. So in a way, yes, I think it's good to let it go. For me personally, yeah. So that's my answer.
Thank you.
I hope it was good.
I just wanted to add a little bit to that, because you get this idea sometimes. Some people find that that sort of acting is like the pinnacle of acting, like becoming the character entirely. And Peter and I talked about it.
That's the kind of acting that gets rewarded the most. Like people look at that and they're like, wow, that's how much you're willing to sacrifice for it. Therefore, you should be, that makes you good, right?
Yeah. But I don't particularly believe that you need to go to such great lengths to get into character. Like some exercises, yes, good. Like a lot of Stanislavski stuff, a lot of Gutowski stuff is nice to get into the body. But then at a certain point, like I feel there's only so much you can do. And I think that of quite a few actors who like become their characters completely, it's almost like not real.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen people. I'm sure you've seen people who like kind of chase that as an ideal.
Yeah,
like this is how it's done. When in fact, there's
in
a lot
reality,
of flexibility.
Yeah, again, personally, it doesn't work for me, and I don't find it difficult to get into character. Maybe I'm lucky. I don't know. Maybe I've picked up something along the way that helps me, and I don't even know what it is. It's maybe unconscious. But I find I can get into it when I'm ready. Maybe it's something small that prompts me into it, and it's okay.
Same.
Yeah.
Like I just need to get into like the body of my character, and then my character comes. Like I don't need to sit at their favorite restaurant, like drinking their specific cup of coffee to get into
luxury.
character.
Exactly.
That seems a bit pretentious, I would say. Actually, like
if it gets results, is it
gets
really?
good? But I mean,
if you can, yeah.
I feel like you could get those results doing other like less
work,
pretentious things. Like, not less work. It's like
it's still hard work, so maybe not less work. But I don't know. I think you certainly have to have a lot of. You need to have a lot of time to dedicate yourself to that kind of characterization.
I think, like you were saying, the ideal, like it's some sort of ideal.
Yes.
To get to that level of characterization, but I think that ideal is just.
It's a bit out of reach sometimes.
Of course.
Yeah.
It's unnecessary.
I think it's a very personal thing. I don't know if that sounds strange, but I think it's a personal journey as an actor. You've got to find what works for you.
Works for you.
And maybe it's different character by character even. Like doing a real character. For instance, I did the role of Elizabeth Barrett Browning for Barrett's of Wimpole Street. And it was so cool to do a real person in the sense that you can go and you can do the research.
And find, idiosyncrasies and stuff.
Absolutely. And it helps. I mean, and then saying that again, creating something from scratch is also fun and interesting. So yeah, it's a personal thing.
So when you have a character that you're going to try and perform as, or what is your process? What are the things you take into consideration about that character?
Well, again, going back to if it's a real person that existed, doing the research is important for me. I mean, not to such a large degree that I get pedantic about it. But, like for that character, for instance, I read her biography and that really helped me. Doing Rodrigo, for instance, obviously you can draw on so much, from Othello. There's so much to draw from. And then you've got to find your own interpretation of it too. And I find those things come out as well when you play with your fellow actors. When you actually start getting out there and interacting.
Like theatre games.
Yeah, theatre games. And then obviously in rehearsals themselves, stuff just naturally and organically comes out. And you discover things. So that's, I would, so I don't have this full-on process by any means.
It's more organic than that.
I would say it's more organic. I try and live my life organically.
Have you Have you been in a situation where a director has told you exactly what he wants your character to be, or she? Like, where you don't have a lot of freedom to create your own version of the character?
Right. I think I've been quite lucky that I haven't had someone so rigid like that. I mean, yes, there's definitely been directors that I've worked with that have very clear visions of what they want. And we'll go through that. But there's always been a little bit of room for interpretation. And in fact, on one or two occasions, I've brought something to the role that they actually preferred or didn't think of. Or in fact, I've gone for a couple of auditions where I've been given a different role entirely because they saw something else that they liked for another character in me. So no, I've been very blessed that I've worked with very flexible people, including yourself, Alistair, and Peter.
No, that's good because I strive to be a director like that. When I like the community aspect of building this play together. And speaking of community,
yes,
I would like to know your take. Like, tell us about community theatre. How is it different
to
like professional
theatre?
Inverted commas theatre.
Professional paid for theatre.
Yes.
Maybe this is a cop out, but I don't see a major difference besides getting paid. I don't know, maybe you've heard that answer before, but I genuinely put, as much effort into both. It's 100% commitment and dedication, whether it's community or paid for professional productions. And I see that in others as well, in the people I work with. I think everyone brings that level of professionalism because there's so much passion, that goes into theatre, so much dedication and commitment. There's no way around it, really.
Yeah.
And then the teamwork, personally, that's my favorite part of theatre.
Yes, mine too.
Yeah.
You, even with us, with halfway in, we we connected so
Absolutely. It's so special. You have a little family, as I think we've discussed this before. You form a little family with every project. And again, so privileged that I've worked with such amazing people and every project has been special. And again, everybody comes to the, what's the word I'm looking for? Everyone really pulls their weight, I should say.
They come to the table.
They come to the table. They come to the stage.
They come to the stage.
Yeah, I like that one.
That's a new one. So in both, in community and in professional, everybody has that consistency I've seen. So no, I don't think there's a major difference for me in that sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would suggest the major difference for me would be budget, because I feel like
money.
Community theatre, although you don't get you as a worker, cast member, crew, whatever, you don't get paid, but the production, I think people often don't think about this. The production has a budget,
right?
So that money is going to sets and rights and things,
of course,
which help make it what's the word? It helps make it, I want to say more professional, but
well, you can get more with more money, I suppose.
Yeah, but it's nice because you have the bigger casts, the bigger crews,
of course,
sets, and you can do sort of more than you
so
might
it's a matter of scale, right?
Yeah,
it's a matter of scale. Yeah.
Although saying that, I've seen some amazing community theatre, and maybe the difference would be that you're more resourceful in community theatre.
Yes.
I mean, people really put in maybe even more than they should in terms of they get more involved in every aspect of the show. So everyone's putting more than their weight, perhaps, in community theatre. Maybe that's the difference. And I've seen actors, besides taking on their roles, basically putting their whole household on stage.
I was going to say, if you are cast in a production in community theatre, how rigid is that role as an actor, or are you asked to also help backstage? Are you to make sets and stuff?
Yeah. Okay. Yes, you do actually become is it a jack of all trades? So you do learn skills, which is good. You know, you learn how other departments operate. So I think that's actually quite handy. In fact, that is a great way to start. So you learn what other people are doing, and you have more of an appreciation of the backstage crew. If you you understand their role is very important, and you also, you learn how to work better with those people and work better as a team. But yes, you do end up doing a bit more. I mean, I've been dresser backstage, which is crazy. It's so funny. You're about to go on, but you're dressing your co-actor and, trying to get their foot in a shoe, and then the buckle breaks. This did happen with Regina and me backstage. So yeah, you learn a lot, and I think that's part of it, and it makes you grow.
It's nice because a lot of people, there are some people that I have spoken to, and they sort of put community theatre down, which is strange because they go, "Oh, it's not professional theatre," but like. I think elitism has no place in it, to be honest with you. That kind of attitude is not productive. Yeah.
Because I think community, what is the role that community theatre plays? Well, I mean, it's for a lot of people, I think it's a gateway.
Yeah.
That's
true.
where a lot of people, that's where you cut your teeth, that's where you learn, you get some experience and stuff. And I think that's very important. And I mean, to dismiss it is short-sighted at best.
And it's also like a way for maybe if you love acting or you love the theatre, but you can't do it full-time.
Yeah.
But you can still be a part of it, like in your evenings. Because,
Absolutely.
Because isn't that a big thing about community theatre? Like everyone has a day job, right?
A lot of the
Most
time,
people.
yes. Yeah.
So the rehearsal schedules and stuff are worked around that.
Absolutely. In the evenings and weekends. So it's it's really passion that drives it.
Passion project, yeah.
Exactly.
And that's where you get the best work, if it's like passion.
Precisely. So everyone's there because they really want to be there. They're really invested, and they'll go to great lengths. So no, I don't think there's room for ego and elitism and so forth in there. No. No.
Stay at the door. Bye.
Yeah, leave it at the door. But yeah, I do live in an ideal world where everybody's equal and happy.
If only.
Yes.
Only. So, what is on the cards for you at the moment? What is your current project? What are you working on now?
Okay, well, funnily enough, I find myself writing more at the moment than playing on stage. Yes, which is an interesting turn. At the beginning of this year, I wrote a play called The Match, and we put it on at the Alexander Bar in Cape Town. You did? Thank you. Support is great. So that was interesting because my dear friend Yasmin,
who we had on recently.
Yes, she is amazing. Not just because she's my friend, but because she's an actor, director, producer, and she pushed me, and she's going to kill me for saying this, but I have to. She really pushed me to write that in terms of she encouraged me. And I really am grateful to her for that because it was amazing. It was an amazing thing to do for us all involved. So we put that on and it went well. And now we're thinking maybe, well, actually not maybe, we are. I say we. I'm adapting it to a screenplay. Ooh. So yeah, watch that space. So I'm busy with that at the moment. Yeah.
Excellent. Sounds wonderful.
Yeah.
So it's good she pushed you, because otherwise you wouldn't have found the sort of love to write.
Yeah, it's the confidence maybe. I've always loved. Okay, I'm a big reader. I love reading, and then obviously I love writing, but maybe the confidence wasn't quite there, and she really drew that out of me. Yeah, she gave me no choice. You're a writer, just write. So I did it, and now it's opened up something. So I've written 2 other short films as well.
Are we going to see them?
Well, I hope so. In fact, we're starting to film one today.
Ooh.
So let's see. This one is I co-wrote with another writer called Magnus Taljart, and we're going to be writing together for the 48-hour film festival.
Exciting.
48-hour film festival. We touched on this a few episodes ago.
So now that's fascinating. Have you done it before?
No, this is my first time.
Okay, so how do you cram like the month-long creative process into 48 hours and then produce a packaged film at the end of it? That's crazy. How's that going to work?
It's called working under pressure, which we've all done somewhere along the line. Well, yeah, I mean, with the match, I also wrote that in quite a short time period. So I had a little bit of experience there, but not that short.
2 days, I mean.
No, but in fact, we did a little practice run, Magnus and I, to see if we could work well together. So we did write our short film as a practice run together, and it really worked out well, and hence we're going to film it. So
how long did it take you to write that?
It took us 4 hours.
Okay.
Excellent.
And yeah, in fact, it was that was the time limit we were given because we're trying to sort of get ourselves prepared for that 48-hour film festival. And we thought, okay, well, let's dedicate 4 hours to the writing. And that seemed like, a good enough time. And it worked. Oh my gosh, I couldn't believe it, but it worked. Yeah. So
because you get given the topic on like, there's nothing beforehand.
Nothing
like you
beforehand.
go there and you all each get given
the genre
and the topic, whatever.
Absolutely. As far as I know, it's a genre and it's a prop you have to use.
Yes, you incorporate a certain element.
That's right.
Okay, that's
and a
cool.
line, a spoken line, or written, if it's a silent film, and a character that has to get
Oh, so they give you all of that?
So you got a little kit of things you have to incorporate.
Yeah, you have to incorporate those few things into your film. And I think it's between 4 and 7 minutes. Yeah. So it's quite...
I mean, it sounds short. You're saying 4 minutes. Well, that's easy. But actually, the amount of work that goes into 4 minutes of film is
exactly.
crazy.
And then depending on what you get, there's so many things that you have to consider. But it's very exciting and it's actually quite fun. So
when you did this let's say mock trial of writing, when you were writing, did you think about like, okay, this script has to now be produced in 48 hours, so think about locations and where it's set and everything. You thought of that as well?
Yeah, you have to keep that in the back of your mind. So you can't go too big unless you're very equipped and resourceful and confident. Absolutely. So, I mean, for instance, in this particular one that we've just done, the mock trial, we had a few more characters than we probably should have had. But then now we're going to film it within the time constraints that we would have. We're going to adjust it on the day so that a character that we couldn't actually get, it's fine. We can make that character fall away and we can still make it work. So it's going to teach us that flexibility as well.
Because that's important. Just on any project, actually. If something's not working,
you got to
move on.
Don't force it.
Absolutely. You've got to go with it then and there. Sorry, I'm clicking. So yeah, it's very exciting.
So, you're writing.
Yes.
I want to get more into like the process. How do you, let's maybe move away from 48 hours because that's a whole like different way of writing, I think.
Yeah.
When you have as much time as you want.
Ooh.
Like,
what comes first, the chicken or the egg?
let's talk about the match.
Okay,
right?
let's
So
talk
how
about
did
the
you get
match.
that spark? What is that first idea from?
Okay, so again, I suppose everything is unique in the sense that every project has its own way of coming together. The match actually came across. Yasmin had this initial concept in her mind of something she wanted to put on that was original. So the sort of bones were there, if I can say that. And then she said, now I need someone to write. Yeah, exactly. Like, this is like the one concept. Can you take that and can you make it into something? Or actually, you will take that and you will make it into something. So, yes. Okay. So it was her initial concept. And then I fleshed it out. And obviously, I was very lucky because I had her brain to pick from. You know what I mean? I wasn't this isolated writer in the mountains, which wouldn't work for me personally. So there was that collaboration of we'd get together and we would we'd talk about it. So I'd say, okay, I've written this. What do you think? And then her and the director, Ali Bergrady, Yasmin and I would sit together and we'd talk about it. And sometimes we would sort of act it out a little bit, which I found really helpful because we were all essentially in it as well.
Yeah.
As the actors. So we would play with it a bit and then we'd go back and I would change a few things or, just sort of, we'd hash it out and work it out together, which I think collaboration is amazing.
Yes.
I mean,
especially when you like writing, when you want to put something down, because I remember for halfway in,
yes,
I had this idea, and with writing, I always get like this idea, and then I've got to try and like make an hour or so something. So I'd write something and it wouldn't be long enough, and then I'd send it to Peter, and then he'd give his ideas,
give feedback and stuff.
And that's how actually your character became your character.
Oh wow!
Like proper, because
thanks,
he
Peter.
like, added flesh to her, to Lucy. So yeah, collaboration when you're writing, and I never, when I'm writing, it's never written by just me.
Yes.
There's always someone
Absolutely.
who's helped.
I agree. That's why I keep saying we, because I really believe that. And I battled with saying, I wrote this. And even when we were performing it and Yasmin would introduce me as the writer, I found that difficult because I felt like, but we all were involved.
Yeah,
we all contributed. And you're right. I totally agree with that.
And it's probably also going back to the concept of like speaking about yourself. Like,
oh yeah.
It wasn't just me, it was someone else as well.
And exactly. It's like, just take the credit. But no, I mean, honestly, sincerely, I believe it's a collaboration. Yeah. I'm with you.
Well, thank you very much.
It's such a pleasure.
Yes, thanks for joining us, Tash. It's been great to hear from you and good to see you again.
It's been lovely to see you guys.
Band back together.
Back together again.
One little brief moment.
And hopefully we'll do a show again. I'm just putting it out there, guys.
Oh, there's an idea.
Every single time we we add a little bit to this show that we've been talking about, and we must do it now.
Yeah, every time we're hyping it up. So
there's the light.
Oh, good.
So we're going to end it there. Thank you very much for coming to us.
Thank you.
And giving us your ideas and your opinions on the theatre and film.
It's been great. Thank you very much. And thank you, listeners, for tuning in to Centre Stage, the South African Film and Theatre Podcast.
Goodbye.
Bye.
King Media Productions Centre Stage is a South African film and theatre podcast hosted by Alistair King and Daniels and Peter Bates and produced with the generous assistance of Blended Podcasts, brought to you by Blended Audio.